news, which I've already taught. Like, news is a very simplistic way of measuring where overall I think, or you guys think, but this is from my perspective, right? So this is only from my perspective. So it's a very easy way of measuring pretty much where you think the most greatest influx of liquidity will be, and then you can put that to work in form of weighing certain liquidity inflows, and looking at pretty much what you're expecting at those certain times. So that's how you look at it. So it's like a framework, which I've previously explained. So please check out the framework video as well in my YouTube. You'll pretty much love that one as well. But just starting off on Monday here, you have pretty much not any like great news. You have some smaller news here. What I personally think we'll do is, of course, just have potentially a selling program or buying program, or just be in a consolidation. So one of the three things. So either a spooling program. How will you be able to measure a spooling program? You'll be able to measure a spooling program by looking at the Asia CLS, which is a thing I'll show you guys later as well. So spooling program is pretty much a consecutive day, pretty much a day in one singular direction, right? So it's spooling program, day in one singular direction, all right? And I'll show you guys that. Then of course you also either will see that or a consolidation, right? Then of course you have Tuesday. Tuesday pretty much I think will be just a pure manipulation day. I think it pretty much will go in the opposite direction of the direction of Monday. Alright, so in this case it will most probably go in the opposite direction, and it's something I'm keen on looking at when trading, because I'm looking for the manipulation move, and then of course I'm going to try to trade this week. Of course I always look for the setup or my model to play out, but of course if I don't see the STA, it pretty much tells me that market conditions is bad, but that I also should just stay out of the markets, right? Which is of course something I've done now for 3 weeks. So even though, and I'm gonna explain it a little bit here. So I've not traded for 3 weeks, guys. You can check the last trade I've actually taken. You can go just scroll up to trades I taken P&L, and you overall will see me not trading for approximately 2.5 weeks. But then pretty much we'll move on. Alright, in here. So Tuesday is a day I'm particularly keen on trading. Now Wednesday, of course. What do I think will happen? I think pretty much Wednesday will be the big expansionary move, or at least the start of the big expansionary move. And of course we'll go into which direction I think Wednesday will be in. And just know the market will probably be a little bit strained until the news release at 20:00, where you have the FOMC meeting minutes. But I don't think this will be an extensive meeting minutes. I think this is sort of a small mediocre event. But you should still take this with highest probable cause for a great move. Even though I don't think this FOMC will cause that great of a move, I think if you look at the whole Wednesday, a great move will have been caused, but I don't think it will be caused by the FOMC event. Now, of course, then you have Thursday. Thursday is just a US bank holiday. What do I think will happen? Most probably consolidation or a spooling program. Alright, notice now, when we don't have any singular news, and I find the market improbable because I'm not good at trading either consolidation days, and I'm not good at trading spooling days. I'm not good at trading when the market is going sideways, and I'm not good at trading when the market is pretty much going in one singular direction. And Thursday is a day I think we will definitely go in a singular direction. If we've seen a great move happen on Wednesday, it will pretty much be a continuation of that move. Now, here on Friday it becomes a little bit interesting. I think Friday will be a super good day of trading, and I think potentially we'll see a TGIF. So if we see like just Wednesday and Thursday being in one direction, and big direction, right? A big directional move, I think Friday will actually as move in the opposite direction towards these. So let's just go through this again. So Monday, either spooling program or consolidation. The spooling program, I think Wednesday or Tuesday here, will be in the opposite direction towards the spooling program, taking the engineered liquidity on Monday. So I think this will take Monday's high, Tuesday, Monday's high, or Monday's low. Monday's high if we're talking about the DXY, potentially. All right, and I'm gonna go through this as well. Then of course we have Wednesday. I think this will most probably be in one consecutive direction move day, but I think it will still be good. So no spooling program, however, just a lot of news. So potentially just a good opportunity, one good opportunity to get in on Wednesday, and the rest of the day being in just in one single direction. Then of course you have Thursday here. Thursday I think it will be a continuation of Wednesday. So like possibly the FOMC event will have some major cause and cause potentially a one directional move here on Thursday. Alright, we'll see, we'll see. So potentially change my mind about the FOMC event. Then of course Friday, if we have seen this. Alright, you see this being in one singular direction. We have FOMC here, or we potentially will see a TGIF here. Alright, sorry guys, but potentially see a TGIF here. And that's something we'll go through. Now of course, let's just overall dive down into the DXY here. I'll just move the charts here for you guys. And I know I'm not sharing my screen. I will share my screen in just a moment here. So as everybody can see, we're now looking at the DXY here. And I've shown this so many times, but let's just go through this once more. Alright, so as everybody can see, I'm still bearish. I will still have this original consolidation I've been looking for, and of course a lot of people will get surprised once we are this low. And I've actually been bearish throughout the whole month here, so I actually was surprised that we did not overall close this month bearish, and that's something I've explained. And that's why also you haven't traded, right? That's pretty much what you guys should or probably are thinking now. Yes, that's correct. I have not traded because I've been my buys have been completely off throughout this, I'll say 3 weeks now, because I've actually been looking for low prices here, but we have not seen any low prices. Am I still bearish? Yes, I am bearish. That's why I've not traded, because my buys have not been correct. It makes sense now, guys, right? As my buys, as I've been looking for low prices, I'm not seeing the low prices yet. What have I been doing? I've just been waiting for the low prices to get priced in. Now, we've actually taken previous yearly high for the DXY, and I think you guys have seen it. And so what do I think will happen? And of course, previous yearly high is an time-based liquidity point, right? We're actually taking this out now, which is crazy, right? So I'm still gonna be bearish. Alright, I'm still gonna be look for low prices. Now potentially we will see the low prices, because what have we done now? Like if you just measure from this high to this low, pretty much do this, what you will see is more or less that we have traded into the constant encroachment here. And the constant encroachment in this case is of course the low risk sell to this market maker sell model. Alright, so this is the low risk sell now. Alright, we've cleared all of the liquidity over here, and I'm gonna go through Tuesday last week, because that's a real important day, as that was where we got the COT data from, and I'll show you that. And of course that was before we took out this high, and I'll show you pretty much what I particularly think will have happened after not taking this high for the COT data. And of course I think large speculators have gotten taken out here, and I think we should be seeing low price here throughout next month and continuing. So I'm still bearish. If I see just continued up prices or high prices here, what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna trade, right? That's why overall, as I said during the news, or looking at Forex Factory, I said potentially, because you look, we have taken out this high now. This was the previous yearly high. We've taken out this, of course, as well. So we have no engineered liquidity left. We've traded through the constant encroachment, just a little bit above it, but we've reacted from it, or rejected from it. And what I potentially am looking for is, I'm having this as the drawn liquidity. I've always said this. We have equal lows here. This, of course, also original consolidation and reconsolidation right here. Small reversal potentially over this high in the constant encroachment, right? And of course, I think you can measure it here as well, so you can even make it more specified. But here we have not reached it, but I think we've reached the 25% mark. So if you divide this once again, and now what would happen now if we overall close next week below the 0.25? Remember measured order flow. Just remember the measured order flow. I'm sorry for having this a little bit wrong, but it's more or less. Oh, this was actually this. Oh, it's actually correct here. So remember measured order flow. All right. What happens if we close below here? That would just tell me it's super bearish, right? Measuring with the 25% mark, right? So what would that be? That would be a confirmation. I don't need any market or shifts. I don't need anything like that. I'm just measuring the order flow and measuring the mitigation of stuff, and that pretty much determines my bias. All right. So that's most of the time when you see me like saying, oh, like for example here, I call the bottom out here. I just measured the mitigation plus using COT and seasonalities to call this out, and of course the externals. But the externals you guys don't know, but that's what I used to call these things out. And of course now the COT, and we'll go into it, have not confirmed this yet, but what I think will happen is that we'll move towards a bearish hedging program, and a bearish hedging program during next week will overall confirm this will be the high. Alright, or potentially if we sweep this, which would be time-based liquidity here, that would just be a simple sweep here, that would also just confirm it. So either one of those two things will overall confirm the things, and bearish Monday will also tell me if we're gonna be continued bearish or if we're gonna be continued bullish. I don't know, and I won't tell you guys what bearish Monday will tell us, but the bearish Monday is super important here, and it will overall tell me if I'm gonna be correct or if I'm gonna be completely wrong with my bias. So let's just overall go down into the daily chart here. So looking at the daily chart, you can see much clearer original consolidation here, and of course I'm looking for this being an market maker sell model, which I've previously explained, with this overall high here being a small reversal, or soon being a small reversal at least, because we have also reached, I think, 108,000, which is a big figure level here, and we've just swept that by like I think 5 pips approximately, which of course is a purge, so that just tells us something as well. And I'm not going to go through ICT purges, but that's something you just got to look up yourself. And what I think will happen here potentially is just a low price here. So I'm not calling this an high. I'm just overall bearish. You guys know I'm bearish, alright? You guys know I've been bearish for a while, alright, for the DXY. A lot of people are bullish. I'm bearish, alright? Yeah. Or makes sense, right? Makes sense. Or potentially not making sense for you guys, but you'll see in the future, right? If it actually have played out, we'll see, we'll see. But we've swept just a lot of buy set here, and I'm overall thinking it's gonna be the small reversal and just seeking low prices, seeking the first fractal here and seeking the second fractal here. So you'll see if it makes sense in the future once it has played out. Now on the intraday time frame, so let's just go down into like the 50-minute time frames here. 50-minute time frame. So just going in here, you will see pretty much we have consolidated throughout this, and what I think will happen is potentially Monday either continuing the consolidation in here, so either just being a continuation of this, or being a bearish spooling program for the DXY, aka just continuing lower for a singular whole day. So continuing lower throughout an entire day. This is a spooling program, and that's going to be important if Monday is closing bullish or if it's closing bearish. Now what I think will happen on Tuesday is either on Tuesday we'll pretty much sweep this high right here or sweep this high. Alright, I could care less. I'm just looking for a manipulation here. Alright, and then what am I looking for? I'm just looking for the distribution Monday and Wednesday, Wednesday and Thursday. I'm sorry, now I'm actually tired, but Wednesday, Thursday lower, and then of course Friday potentially being the TGIF offered, so 30% extended upwards. You'll reach the 70% of the expansionary range, and of course that will be look something like this. be looking something like this, where you have it more or less being like 20 to 30% of the given extended range, or 80 to 70% retracement. Um, Makes sense, right? So everybody understood. Let's just move down in on Euro USD here. So go to the 1 month. So as everybody can see here, looking at the monthly here, you can see an original consolidation up here. Alright, where overall you see this market maker buy model, right? You see this reconsolidation we've been in for approximately 2 years here. We pretty much reached down in here. I think this is going to be the low risk buying opportunity, alright, for continuation reaching for these equal highs up here. And I think we've just swept previous yearly low here. And of course that's time is liquidity. So this is more or less an STA. Like that's also why I'm bullish, right? So this is actually a yearly STA. It's something I've looked for. I've been bullish for like half of this month at least. So I actually was surprised that we traded down all the way down in here. But I have looked for this market maker sell model, and you can go back to the lecture number 7. I think go back to lecture number 7. Alright, and then of course look at what I said during or during that lecture, and of course this is lecture like number 30 or something. So let's just overall go down into the weekly here. So on the weekly time frame here, as everybody can see, we pretty much have an original consolidation up here and a reconsolidation here. And of course I'm thinking soon this moment reversal, either this week or next week or something like that, to some extent. Of course I could be completely wrong, which is why I'm putting so much emphasis on overall you following your own analysis. So of course if you have a different perspective than mine, okay, you need to overall follow your own perspective, alright? Don't follow mine, alright? But what I think at least is that here's moment reversal, and then we're gonna reach up higher for this original consolidation right here. And of course we have equal highs up here as well. Now just going into the daily here, and here on the daily, as you can see, we're pretty much measured mitigation here. We have closed above here. Tells me we should be at least soon seeing high prices here. Alright, potentially during next week or this week. We'll see what happens. But I'm pretty much looking for a small reversal here. That's precisely what I'm looking for. So let's overall go drop down into like potentially 50-minute time frame, and let's just go through pretty much what I think on a week to week time frame, right? So either, right, what I've told you guys on the DSY is pretty much inverse from what I told you guys on the DSY. I'm potentially looking for a continued consolidation here. Alright, so just a continued consolidation here, or a spooling program to the upside on Monday. So either one of those things is super good. Now on Tuesday, I'm looking for either sweep of this low, or this low, or this low, right? All of them are fine. Then on Wednesday, I'm looking for just high prices, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday just a retracement of 20 to 30% of the given extension. Makes sense, right? So now pretty much you have my bias like for the entire week. Now let's just jump back to the DXY a little bit, because I'm not done here. Now we're gonna overall go into the daily chart here again, and I'm just overall gonna look at the at last week's, or at the 19th. So Tuesday was the 19th of November. I'm gonna mark that out. Just note here, we had just taken this, but we have not taken this yet. Alright, and we had engineered equal highs here. So just remember that. So we had this equal highs, and actually, of course, this was actually something I was calling out. So I was calling out these on the shorts here, on the short side on Euro. I think I made a TikTok or something. So right here on the 19th, I was actually saying, oh look, we have equal highs here. I was looking for sweep of that. We saw the sweep here, and of course we saw 3 consecutive days of down close candles. So I actually called the weekly high here, and go back into the TikTok. I can actually link it to you guys if you guys would like to. You guys want to? But why I put so much emphasis on that is because the 19th was when the COT reports dropped, and the COT reports was just telling me that we had not moved to a bearish hedging program yet. Alright? Why is that important? It's pretty much important because it does not confirm we would look for low prices, particularly on the DXY, or high prices on Euro. However, 19th was prior to taking previous yearly high for the DXY. Meaning, what I think now is that the large speculators has gotten taken out, and I think we are in a bearish hedging program now. This is how I overall predict hedging programs before they overall play out. So let's just show you guys here. I'm just gonna link it to you guys. So the video drops right here in the chat, as everybody can see here. So it's overall just loading here, and you have it in like 2 seconds here. Bam, there you go. So if you click on this, it does not really load, but if you click on this, you pretty much see me explaining or calling out the high before it happened for previous weekly high. So calling out this high right there, or saying it would sweep here, swept, and of course just lower prices here. So now guys, I think you saw I dropped it right there. I don't know what happened. I was just kicked for some reason. So I said we were gonna sweep this. We swept that, and of course that was the high, and we saw low prices from there, which is precisely what happened. Alright. Now let's just overall drop and go to the DXY here first. So please check that out. I'm sorry for not streaming, but here you go. 19th here, just put a lot of emphasis on this. So just remember, we had not swept this yet. That's, you gotta put big emphasis on this. And of course now we have swept it. So just remember, we had not swept it the 19th, and now we have actually swept it. So let's actually go into the COT reports. And so what everybody can see here, just loading it up, you can see we're continued bullish hedging program here. Alright, as everybody can see, meaning it should overall continue up higher. However, that's just what the retail people think, or the normal ICT people think. But you gotta put emphasis on the narrative. And what the narrative tells us is that previous yearly high has now gotten taken out. Just remember, this was released during the 19th of November, prior to us taking this high of the 3rd October. Now we have taken this high, alright? Meaning next week when this releases, we should see a drop like this. And we should see a spike or a drop like this, which overall would confirm that the large speculators has gotten liquidated, alright? And that's precisely what I'm watching. I'm watching the large speculators now getting liquidated. Alright, and I'm watching the commercials moving towards a bearish hedging program. And that's precisely what I think will happen. Now, if you go to seasonalities, you'll see that the seasonalities perfectly align with our bias. Alright, so look, we should see a high here, we should see a high here, we should see a high here, and we should see a high here. Which is why I think we overall have formed potentially this moment of reversal, and we're gonna just continue down lower throughout December, meaning you're gonna have a clear bias here, bearish bias, before everybody else have it. And then of course you're gonna continue that to February, and February is overall, I think, potentially just gonna offer a low risk sell to the market maker model, and then of course continued lower prices, or that's at least what I think. continue low prices into August, and then of course you're gonna see a rise again from August up to November again, rise in the DXY, which is exactly what we saw, and just a continued drop here. So I think like throughout these 4 years, I think the DXY will drop. Now let me explain this, and I think a lot of people have said, oh, but aren't you expecting Trump to overall make the DXY pump? Now why would Trump make the DXY pump? Right? What a lot of people overall, or at least what I think, like just saying the DXY will pump, means pretty much you're overall thinking the DXY will move on towards a risk-off scenario. Alright, a risk-off scenario, you hear it yourself in the name, right? A risk-off scenario pretty much means that you have an increased uncertainty in the world, alright? And pretty much money is flowing from risk-on assets to risk-off assets, aka safe haven assets, which the DXY is part of. Now, instead, what I think will happen is that we'll have a better economic situation in the world. I think we're going to see increased growth in the stock market and increased growth in other sort of equities. And as you see, we see already a drop in other safe haven assets like gold, which of course just continues confirming it in form of business cycles, which is something I think you guys should put a lot of emphasis on, business cycles. So we see already some safe haven assets dropping off like gold, if you're looking at in-the-market correlations here. That pretty much tells us that we should see other safe haven assets dropping now soon. And I potentially think the DXY will drop, because if you want to see things like continued stock growth and other equities growing, you should see money flowing from safe haven assets, aka from a risk off scenario, which we have been in, moving towards a more risk on scenario where the DXY moves lower. And all of this is in combination with a lower interest rate. Alright, and lower interest rate pretty much on a given currency pretty much means the currency gets weaker. Alright, and that's thanks to overall more money circulation by the feds, right? Which will overall lead to the DXY dropping down lower, right? So yeah, if you have a strengthening monetary policy, you'll pretty much see that giving currency going higher. If you have a weakening monetary policy, which we have now in the US, you will see pretty much a weakening currency. And that's why, alright, just purely fundamentals, but I don't use fundamentals, I just use this. I just look at liquidity, and I just pretty much know where the market will reach for in a most probable basis. That does not necessarily mean that the market will go to those certain points. It means that we'll move to those certain points on a most probable basis. Alright? But hopefully everybody understood this. Hopefully you guys thought this was a good call. I went through a lot of things.